I see a lot of people on social media having a lot of negative sentiment about AI and about the potential of AI in destroying jobs or creating some kind of a dystopia in the future that's going to end the world. But today what I wanted to do is to give a different perspective for this. Because I think what most people get wrong is kind of multi-dimensional. The first thing is most people don't think about the deflationary aspect of technology. If you think about the prices of grocery, for example, let's say you go back 100 years. If you wanted to buy 1 kilogram of certain fruit, let's say it's bananas, it might have cost you what today you might consider as a fortune. So when it comes to prices, AI and technology in general will, I think, in the future, end up with a deflationary aspect to our economy and making everything cheaper. But today, this is not the topic. The main topic I want to talk about is all the possibilities, all the potential that AI can give young people or anybody who is ambitious enough to make the most of it. Right now, with these AI technologies that are available for free, let's say you're using ChatGPT or Claude, there's a lot of things that you can do that in the past, if you wanted to do, it would have taken a huge team. So right now, one person or a very small team can do the job of a big company just 10 years ago. And this is something I've learned from my own experience. I'll talk about this later, but right now, I have just finished basically a very big project on analyzing the reactions and the narrative around the Khost massacres that took place in Syria last March. I will declare the project soon once it's approved by the foundation that sponsored it, and I will talk about it later. But the kind of project that I did would have taken a team of dozens of people and a much bigger budget and a much bigger institution. So right now, I've done something that I would have never been able to do a few years ago, before the availability of tools like Claude and ChatGPT. To give you an example, I have made a knowledge graph. That knowledge graph was made using a large language model. So we scrape data and then we analyze a huge amount of comments and posts about the massacres, and then we put them on a knowledge graph. And then the knowledge graph will be put publicly accessible on my company's website. Now, I wanted to basically get a link from that knowledge graph to be able to put that link on an iframe and then put that iframe link on the company's website. In order to do that, you need to make a specific version of that knowledge graph so that it's only reader mode only. Long story short, if I wanted to share the knowledge graph directly on the website, then anybody will be able to go there and get the credentials and then go to the knowledge graph and edit it or delete it. So I wanted to make a read-only mode, like a standalone mode, right? All that I learned using the existing AI models. If I didn't have Claude and ChatGPT, I could never have done that without the help of some professional who would have cost me a lot of money, and that would have been outside the scope of the budget that I have. So just using Claude, I was able to do something that I could have never done 5 years ago without the help of somebody who's a professional. It would have taken much more time and perhaps even money. I simply went to Claude, I asked them how to do that, and then it gave me detailed instructions how to do it, how to make it read-only, publish it, and then can basically fix it and change the parameters and change the credentials in order to keep it safe. So this is a quick example of what I've done. Now, what could you do using these tools? There are many examples. My best example, I think, is Airbnb. Airbnb now is a huge company, one of the biggest in the world. They have billions and billions of dollars in revenue, and mainly because they charge outrageous fees. Every time you book a place on Airbnb, you're paying 15 to 20% fees. So it's basically you're paying, if you're using Airbnb like I do, you're paying a small fortune basically every time you book a place. And if you do it all the time, that's a lot of money. But the opportunity lies in somebody who is willing to take a chunk of that business model. Let's say you live in a touristy place. Let's say your city is very touristy and there are many tourists, right? Right now, using Claude, you can go to Claude and you can ask it to create a website for you that is similar to Airbnb, and Claude will do basically 95% of the work. If there are anything that you could not figure out, using Claude, then that little bit of work left, you can bring a professional, pay him a little bit of money to fix these problems. But basically, the cost of making a website like Airbnb is now almost negligible, and anybody can do it. The real bottleneck here is the attitude and the ability of somebody to be able to do that and do the extra work. How can that be? Let's say you live in, I don't know, Capri in Italy, or you live in Rome, or you live in Paris, right? You can make a clone of Airbnb, not of course a typical, not like an identical clone, but you can make a website for yourself that is copying Airbnb's model, and then you can go around and ask people personally, directly, if they would like to put their properties on that website that you have. And before you know it, you have a website with a lot of properties, and then you can basically copy Airbnb's model. You don't have to be as big as Airbnb, but you can make some good money, and while at the same time helping the people in your city to make more money and to bring customers and to bring people who can make the most of the available properties in that city, that area that you live in. So it doesn't have to be as big as Airbnb, but you can take that chunk, apply it to your own geography, and that is, I think, easily doable. What the effort here lies in you taking the steps, make the website, do the payment processing, all that, and then maybe you can run some local ads, maybe you can use some Google ads, you can go speak to people directly, you can make some ads in your own town for property owners to put their properties on your website, and before you know it, you have a website with properties and you're making fees, and you can compete with Airbnb by charging lower fees and by giving back to the property owners more of that money that Airbnb normally charges. So let's say Airbnb takes 20%, you can take 10%, and then you can give 5% to the property owner, while at the same time saving the user another 5%. So there's a lot to be done here, and this is something that right now can be doable. So AI, what you need to understand is that it's a very sophisticated tool, very powerful tool, and this tool will give normal people the ability to be doing business that only big companies could do. Right now, you can compete with Airbnb. You can go make a website and compete with Airbnb and make your own revenue model. So this is a quick example of what Airbnb can do and what you can do to kind of take a chunk of that business and copy it and apply it to your own geography, your own city. And this is just a drop of the bucket. Right now, using these tools, you can do all kinds of coding, you can create all kinds of tools, you can do a lot of research that could never be done before, and the kinds of capabilities that these technologies will give you as an individual are unprecedented. And the only thing that I think will differentiate people in the future is people who refuse to use AI and the people who learn how to use AI. Like I said earlier, the project that I'm working on right now could never have been done without the use of AI and the use of these chatbots directly using ChatGPT or using Claude. So the question for you here is, what kinds of opportunities are out there for you? What kinds of opportunities that might suit your skills or might suit your interests, and then you can go to these AI models and ask them for step-by-step analysis of the market, how you can do it. If you want to build an online platform, a website, tool, you can ask them to tell you how to do it step by step. So right now, the knowledge is not scarce. Throughout history, knowledge has been scarce. But now, knowledge is not scarce. What is scarce is the will to learn, the interest in learning and to applying new methodologies and to trying new things. It's basically more of a psychological barrier than a physical or a realistic barrier. Anybody right now can use these tools to learn a lot of new things and apply them to different aspects of life. And this applies to individuals. This also applies to small businesses, small startups. Let's say you have a bakery right now and you want to build a website. You can go to Claude and Claude will build you a website. So there's a lot of things to be done. What you have to do is start experimenting with these tools and see how they can help you in your own life. So this is my short video for today. But what I would like to ask you is, what ideas do you have? What do you think these tools can help you with. Do you have any business ideas, anything that you think can be applied to these tools and these tools can help you with? If you have any certain ideas, you can put them in the comments below and we can discuss them together. Anyway, thanks for watching and I will see you next time.